Hello everyone, welcome back to Crafts by the Bow. Today I'm going to be making two of my Easter cards. And I know it's a little bit early for Easter cards yet, but I'm taking mine back to the UK and so I'm travelling on Tuesday, so I need to make them today. Now if you can hear a strange buzzing noise, it's my husband, oh that noise, it's my husband blowing snow off the deck, so I'm really sorry. He's waited as long as he could to do it, and now it's just starting to snow, so he needs to get rid of the snow that's already there before the new snow falls. So the card that I'm making today is a triangle fun card, and it looks like this. And these two pieces fold down, so you have a piece that folds up and a piece that folds out. And I've seen lots and lots of these on Pinterest and on the demonstrator sites and in swaps. I got a swap like this last April from Onstage, just using this fold. So I know it's been around a long time. I actually took my measurements from Jackie Ballhouse because she had them quite clearly explained with the sizings and everything. But honestly, if you look up any of the triangle fun folds on Pinterest or on YouTube, you'll get just the same sizings and everything as Jackie used. So what you need to start with is a piece of ordinary card, and I've got mine in Granny Apple Green. And the thing with this card is, because it's this kind of a shape that you cut out, it's easier to cut two cards and make two at the same time, or to have another one cut, because you can't get another different shaped card out of this piece. So it's just as easy to cut and score for two cards as it is for one. So I'm just going to get my trimmer. Here we are. And I'm just gonna check that that is in shot, so I know how much of it you can see. Oh, okay, that's fine. Right, so I've got my Granny Apple Green card, and I'm going to score it on the long side at 5.5, which is, you know, ordinarily where we would cut it for a card, and then on the short side at 4.25. So there are normal card measurements, but I'm not cutting it, I'm only scoring. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut diagonally across the whole card. So it doesn't really all fit in the trimmer. What I should do is take this piece out, but you know what? I'm lazy today, so it's staying in. And we're going to line up the very top corner with the opposite corner here, and make sure that both pieces are in the track, and it does take up the whole of the scoreboard, of the trimmer I mean. So when I get up to here, if this little scoring blade wasn't in, I'd be able to whiz right to the end. But because that's in, you see you have a little piece, and I'm just going to get my scissors, and I'm going to carry on across the line to the corner. There we go. Okay, let's just pop this one down for a minute. So here we are, these are our pieces. Okay. There, that's how they go. And what you need to do next is just find your valley, make it into a mountain. I'm just going to fold it down, and before you really squash it down, make sure that this point is right on the corner, and then with your bone folder or your finger, just score straight across, just press straight across, I mean. And then we're going to do the same at this right hand side. We're going to make sure that it lines up right to the corner, and then we're just going to crease it down the fold. So you now have a piece that looks like this. I have also done in the past where I've turned it horizontally and had my card that runs this way. It still stands up, but today's is going this way. Okay, so for the inside piece, you're going to need a piece of Whisper White, and it's cut at 4 by 5 1/4, and we're just going to glue it on the inside. And I'm going to glue it today just with Tombow. Oops. And I'm using Tombow because when I put the DSP on the outsides, if I need any wriggle room, or if I need to just move it over slightly, there's only really Tombow that you can do that with. Any of the other glues are not quite as forgiving. They don't give you time to, line things up and move them, because by then they've stuck. Okay, so now we need to decorate. And what I've done is I've cut 2 pieces of DSP. This is from the Share What You Love suite. And what I've got it cut at is 4 across by 5 1/4. And I've just cut it corner to corner. And then on some cards, you would be able to use that side for the front piece at the top, turn it over. No, how come that didn't work? Oh, right, no, just ignore that. It's because I'm making 2 cards. Okay, so you can have one piece like this, and then your other piece, let me just cut this. I'm thinking, oh, why doesn't that work? What have I done? I've cut it wrong, but no, I haven't. So this is exactly the same size, and I'm going to cut it corner to corner again. I'm going to cut it this corner to this corner. Like that. And then if you were wanting to use the back and the front of the same piece, you would just cut both pieces in the same DSP. But I wanted a bit of a lighter colour as well, and so I used some of the butterfly, the botanical butterfly paper. So let me just fold this, and then I can sort of make 2 cards at the same time with you so you can see how the pieces go. Okay. So for card number 1, I'm going to have this piece here, and I'm going to put this piece here, and then I will have exactly the same pieces, but I'm just going to put them in a different order on this one. I'm putting the lighter DSP here and the darker one there. Okay, so I need another hand. So you can see, you only have to have 2 pieces of DSP cut, and it will do all the pieces for both cards. I'm just going to move this one out of the way slightly so I don't get confused. Hey, so we're going to put a little bit of glue on this piece of DSP. We're not doing any other layers, only a DSP layer. I know sometimes I have like a double layering, a double matting going on, but not for this card. Now you can see why I'm using the Tombow, because as you put this on, you need to make sure that your triangle is exactly in there. Okay, I'm going to do the same with the top. Let's just make sure that this is nicely set up. So that's the most difficult part of our card done. We've got DSP on, we've got it all cut and all ready. And because this is a little bit springy, I am just going to get my bone folder and just fold it down a little bit. See if I can stop it springing up quite so much. And I'm going to score the back as well, because sometimes that helps. It will still spring up, but maybe not quite so much. There we go. Now, for the front of the card, what I've chosen is the big daffodil part from the You're Inspiring set. And I'm also going to be using this little Happy Easter sentiment. Now, I have already stamped my daffodils and I started to colour them in. And I'm using the Granny Apple Green for the leaves because it's the same colour as my backing. And I'm using Daffodil Delight for my daffodils. And I've already coloured one. And I also, on this one, used Pumpkin Pie because I wanted it to be those daffodils, I don't know what they call them, but where they have the more orange trumpets. On this one, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use the two yellows. So I'm going to do sort of the majority of the daffodil in the light Daffodil Delight colour. And then I'm just going to make the trumpet a bit darker colour. And these cards are going to be for my mum and my mother-in-law. And they both love daffodils. For my mum, it's her birthday flower because she's a March baby. So I think they've had daffodils out in the UK since really just after Christmas. It's only here in Canada where I haven't seen a green shoot of anything yet. But my mum has the most amazing garden. And she has aconites out and little violets and celandines. And I'm really looking forward to seeing it. Okay, so now you can see I'm doing the trumpet in the bit darker. I'm not going to do the stamens yet because I am going to do those in the pumpkin pie. Because on these kind of daffodils, where you have that slightly darker trumpet, usually the stamens are more of an orange. So let's do this one as well. There we go. Okay, and then I am going to get that pumpkin pie back just to do the stamens. And you can see I've not really gone over the daffodils a lot. I've not worried about putting in lots and lots of layers and making little darker pieces. That's really all I wanted to do. I just wanted to have the two colours of yellow on this card. And then I'm going to cut this out. I'm just going to get the Big Shot and bring it in. So let's pop that there. Then I'm going to cut this out with the second largest oval. Really, the largest oval would be a better size, but I want to use the largest scallop, and the largest oval is bigger than the largest scallop. So I'm using the second largest, and I'm just going to stand up so I can see a bit better. And I'm just going to sort of move this to where I want it. Now on this one, you can see I moved the circle, the oval right down, and I like to have a little bit of white at the top just so that the card doesn't all look too busy. I like to have some white space. So I'm doing just the same here, and I might have just a little bit more of the greenery showing on this one. So let's just move that down a bit, there. And I'll just run it through the Big Shot. Take it out, and let's put this Big Shot away. Okay, what's that pick from? Take that one off. So now I've got the daffodils that I wanted, and then I've used a little bit more of the Granny Apple Green, and I've cut out the largest scallop with Granny Apple Green, and that's all the cutting that we're doing. So let's go back to where I've got my little card ready. And then this is going to go on the front of the card, and you can choose whether you want to have it attached to the top fold or the bottom fold. Doesn't matter. It's going to go like this, and this piece is going to go on here. And because everything's sort of a bit green at the moment, I'm going to put some ribbon on it as well. And Jackie, on her card, she did use a little bit of ribbon on hers. And I thought that looked really quite nice. I'm going to use the Celebration free ribbon, the organdy ribbon, in the Daffodil Delight. So that's just going to go like that. And I think that looks pretty sweet. So let's have a look on here. I'm going to put just a little bit of our tear and tape on. I'm going to put it on the back so that I can catch the ribbon and attach it. It's not going to wriggle off. And I won't worry about trimming the ends just yet, but I want my ribbon to sort of, there we go. I want it to sort of loop a little bit, not too much, else it'll make it too big for the card. And you can see how this little piece of tear and tape is catching the ribbon just in the middle. And then just a little bit to there. And I think if you do it this way, you don't waste as much ribbon because you're not cutting a length and then sort of making your ribbon sort of curl over and under and having maybe 5-6 inches left at the end. So I'm doing it this way just because I think it works better. And then while it's there like that, I'm just going to offer it up to the card. Yep, that doesn't stick out past the card edges or anything. Okay, so we've got that on there, and I'm going to put dimensionals just on the card so that it attaches to the Granny Apple Green scalloped piece that we have. And you can put some on top of the ribbon if you want, just to keep some of the edges stuck down. I'm just going to put a random amount on here. I'm going to put one over here as well. And let's take the back ends off. I made a few of these cards for Christmas, and I used the cookie cutter set with the little reindeers and Santa and the little Inuit girl on. Did those, but cut them out with the cookie cutter punch and then put them on a little oval like this, and they looked really sweet. So it's one of those cards that, you know, you can use for all sorts of occasions. And it doesn't have to be a stamped image if you don't want it to. What would look nice is the cupcake from the Hello Cupcake. You could, instead of stamping and colouring, you could just do that with different DSPs and make the whole cake out of DSPs. That would look really pretty. Okay, so I've got my card back. I'm going to put it here, and I've decided that I'm going to attach mine to the bottom right piece. So it will be on here as you open it. And you can see that I don't even need half of the card to have glue on. It's only going to be this bottom right hand side. If you wanted to use a pencil and just mark slightly, you could do that. But I'm just going to wing it, just put a little bit of glue like that, because I know that'll be enough to stick it on. So let's close it down, pop this in the middle, there. You see, there's no glue showing, but if you wanted to make those little marks, then you could transfer the marks to the back, and then you know exactly where you need your glue. Then the last thing I've got to put on is the Happy Easter sentiment, and I've just stamped it in Memento Black a couple of times, and I've got the little skinny punch, and let's see, I'm going to use this one. I'm going to cut the whole thing out once I know it's straight. Don't know if that looks straight or not. There, that looks better. Okay. And then I'm just going to put it just here on the very bottom of the flowers, or it could go there, or even at the bottom. Not sure. Let's see. I think I like it at the bottom actually. It just makes your eye move up towards the flowers. So I'm just going to put it on there, and I'm going to put that on a little piece of dimensional too. I'll use one of these little pieces of backbone that we get. Take this little bit off. And there we are. That's one of my triangle fun fold cards ready for Easter. And it stands up nicely on the mantelpiece, on the side, wherever you want to put it. If you wanted to, you could stamp pictures and more sentiments in here. You could even put extra DSP. Let's see if we can do it with this side. Well, it's cut the wrong way for this, but you could even put DSP, look, on the inside if you wanted to have a little bit more inside. Okay. I will take a photograph of both cards when I finish them, and I'll put them on the video as well. Thanks very much for watching, everybody. Have a go at this one. It looks, for people opening it, like it's a bit of a tricky card to make, but you and I know it really isn't. Have a go at making it. See what you come up with. Use up some of your DSP. Don't just store it in the cupboard like I do. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you all again soon. Bye-bye.